Hi guys, it's Ray. I'm going to show you guys how to use Picasa on how to edit your pictures. Once you have the ideal light and you have the ideal camera angle, you should be able to edit your photos pretty easily. You could do it in Photoshop, but the whole purpose of our tutorial is to show you that you don't need a light box and you don't need a fancy camera and you don't need Photoshop in order to get a really good picture of your layout or any project for that matter. But this one is going to be for a layout, and I'm going to show you how to do this. Picasa is a program that is powered by Google and it's free. If you want to store a lot of things on Picasa, you can do so for a nominal fee, but if you just want to use it for editing and not organizing your photos and keeping them out there in the cloud so you always have them, then that's fine too. You can actually just edit them and save them to your computer, and you can do all of that for free. So I'm going to show you how I edit pictures. First of all, I took this picture on Saturday in the morning, and it was in indirect light. So the sun was shining bright, but it wasn't in the light, so I don't have any harsh light on there, and I didn't use a flash. In fact, I actually just used my iPhone to take this picture. So that's the ideal conditions, and then once you have the ideal conditions and you upload it to your computer, put it into Picasa once you've downloaded that, and this is what I like to do first. Up here at the top, you've got some options. You can see just the picture that you're editing. You can see two different pictures that you're editing, or you can see the picture that you're editing and the raw picture. This being the raw picture right here, not raw like DSLR raw, but you know what I mean. One that's not edited. So that's what I like to use, so I can see what I'm doing, just to compare what I'm doing to the picture and what it looked like before I did anything to it over here. So when I get into Picasa, the first thing I like to do is I like to straighten my photo, because even though I try to match it up over here in the corners with the very corner of the lens for the image, I don't always do that. It was really windy outside, so it kind of moved a little bit, and I just wanted to hurry up and take the picture. So the straightening feature is really good for that. So what you want to do is you want to line up the grid to the corner. I don't always match it right in the middle, like right here. That's not important, but as long as that line is as straight as possible, I think you'd be okay. Okay, so then I apply. And the next thing I want to do is I want to crop it. And you have some options about what you want to do. You can do it manually, which is just you cropping in exactly how you want, or you can try to do square. It says CD cover. I always try to do this first to see if I can get the perfect square. Sometimes my picture is a little tiny bit off and it doesn't work, but I'm going to see if I can get this to work. So you have this image, you can see that it's a square, and I need to trim it down to see if I can get the perfect square. I'm going to try not to get a lot of the sidewalk in there, and I think that's good. Yep. And I don't think there's too much in there. There is a little bit on this side that I want to trim off, I think. So I am going to recrop this, and maybe there we go, much better. So you can just kind of fiddle around with that and see if you can get it. If not, you can do it manually too. But this is a perfect square, and I'm happy with that. So the next thing I'm going to do after I've recropped and straightened is I'm going to come and I'm going to skip this one up here for the light tuning and fixes, because I want to sharpen this image first. So I'm going to click on this because this is sharpen, and I'm going to push it all the way over about 75%. I could go all the way over here, but I don't want to do that because I am going to resize this so that I can actually put it on the forums, which means that's about 600 pixels, and that's not going to work out. It will look really grainy if I do that, so I'm going to go over here between like 60 and 75% is good. So then I'm going to apply that, and that's done. So you don't have to do a lot of saving. All you have to do is click apply, and then it's done. And the next part is for my light. I always start up here at the top with my fill light, and you can see how light it can get. Of course you don't want it like that, but it just gives you an idea of what you're doing to this picture. And I like it to be about right there, because when I start doing this, some of the color starts to fade. The whole idea for me here is that if it's dark over here, I don't want it to be that dark. I want it to be as bright as possible so that it represents the papers exactly how it's supposed to. Like, if I want my picture to look here how it looks in real life, as close as possible. So after I do the fill lights, I do the highlights, and you can just see what you're doing to the picture like this. It's kind of like fill light, and I want it to have the intensity of the darkness with as much brightness as possible, and then I can balance that out with the shadows, and then it just gives you more of a clear image there. And then if I want to, depending on what time of day I took this photo, I might want to mess with the color temperature. And I'll just show you, this is no messing with the color temperature, and it can go all the way down to a bluish color up to that yellowy. Of course we don't want it to look like that. Sometimes, depending on what time of the day, I like to wash it out a little bit so that it doesn't have that yellow hue. So that's maybe like a -1 on there. And then I'm done. Now if I wanted to, I could go back in and resharpen it just to kind of see what would happen, but I don't think I need to with this because I think it looks really good just the way that it is. So my next choice to do this is I just need to go back to my library because it's already done. I don't need to save it. I'll just go back to my library, and there it is. And then I can export it. This is the next step for Picasa. You can export it, and then you can actually just resize it right here. So it's not a big deal to resize anything. Usually I do 500 to 600 so that I can go ahead and put that onto the forums. And that is how you use Picasa. So if you have any questions, go ahead and post them on the forums, and I'll be more than happy to answer your question. Thanks for watching.